Good evening. This is the Dolores County Broadcasting Network. And just as an aside, this morning at my house, it was 6 above zero with a wind chill of 15 below. Now, I've been here almost 30 years, and I have never, ever seen cold temperatures like this in October. I've seen them in December and I've seen them in January, but I've never seen temperatures like this. And tonight, based on predictions, I'm going to guarantee it's going to be well below zero at my house and probably in a lot of other places in western Dolores County. I can't even think what it's like in Rico right now. So, batten down. It's hopefully your pipes and everything are covered and irrigation systems drained, because it's going to be cold tonight. And with that, the DCTV 4-H Evening News Program for October 30th, 2019. Camera person is Tanner. Video and sound engineer and producer is Lynn. Teleprompter and prompter is Myra. News anchors are Brant and Aubrey. Meteorologist is Hannah. And this is the news director, Dan. And now, the news.
Welcome to the DCTV 4-H Kids Evening News Show. Help us keep our news show on the air by becoming a sponsor. You can buy a sponsorship by calling 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Now for the news. Hi, I'm Brant, and our first story is from the Durango Herald. Who says you can't eat red meat? So is red meat good or bad for you? If the answer were only that simple. A team of international researchers recently rattled the nutrition world by saying there isn't enough evidence to tell people to cut back on red or processed meat. Seemingly contradicted advice from prominent health experts and groups including the American Cancer Society and American Heart Association. But the researchers didn't say people should eat more meat or that it's healthy. No new studies were conducted, and they reported no new understanding of meat's effect had on the body. Instead, the papers offer a new approach to giving advice about food and health, and a rebuke to how it's often done. The dispute lies bare problems with nutrition research are long acknowledged in the scientific world. Nutrition studies almost never conclusive, and whatever supposed risk and benefits there are to any food are often oversimplified. People like bumper sticker guidance, said Dr. Walter Willett, a professor of nutrition at Harvard who has led studies trying meat to bad health. Now health experts are wrestling with how solid scientific findings should be before guidance is now issued. How to address biases that might skew conclusions, and whether the pleasure we get from eating should be considered. The scrutiny is likely to spill over to other dietary advice as obesity becomes an ever more critical public health concern, and people become increasingly frustrated with flip-flopping messages. The papers analyze past studies on red and processed meat, and generally corroborated the links to cancers, heart disease, and other bad health outcomes. But they said the chance of any benefit from eating less of them appeared small or negligible. For every 1,000 people, for instance, cutting back on red meat by 3 servings a week linked to 7 fewer deaths from cancer. For some other health issues measures like strokes, differences were smaller or non-existent. What's more, the researchers said, there's little certainty meat was the reason for the differences. Uncertainty is common in nutrition research. Many studies about food and health are based on links researchers may make between people that health and what they say they eat. But that doesn't prove one causes the other. If a thin person loves cereal and eats it nearly every day, for instance, that doesn't mean the cereal is reason they're thin. Health experts who defend advice to cut back meat say researchers were applying the unreasonable standard, evaluating the strength of the meat studies with a method intended for medical studies, where a specific dose of drugs can be tested under controlled conditions. With nutrition, they say it's impossible to conduct studies where people's diets and lifestyles are controlled and monitored over long periods. They say the statistical signs they see in nutrition studies are meaningful, and that people should be given guidance on the best available data.
This story is from Durango Herald, the greatest coffee roaster on earth. Bayfield isn't necessarily known for its great coffee, but in Shelby, Williamson, the town produced one of the top coffee roasters in the United States at the World Coffee Roasting Competition. November 15th to 18th in Taipei, Taiwan, she will complete to prove that she's the greatest in the world. This is Williamson's first year roasting coffee competitively at any level. Her first competition was the Rocky Mountain Roasting Rodeo in October 2018 in Denver, where she now lives. Williamson fell into coffee roasting almost by accident, she said. She first got interested in coffee while trying to pursue a different dream. I really wanted to open a bookshop, she said. If I could see myself doing something for a long time, I would love to open a bookshop. She said that when she really began thinking about opening a store, Amazon was taking over the book sales market, and for a bookshop to live, it have to have something extra, so she decided on coffee. Williamson was living in Moscow at the time, and didn't know anything about running a coffee shop. So she sought out a job in the industry, eventually finding one as a production assistant at Corvus Coffee Roasters in Denver. There she became fast friends with Daniel Mendoza, who ended up teaching her how to roast. I was really lucky in that he was someone who was super knowledgeable about roasting, she said. After switching companies a couple times, Williamson now roasts coffee for Huckleberry Roasters, which has 2 locations in Denver. Entering the fray, Williamson said she didn't get into the competitive coffee roasting scenes until one of her coworkers suggested she enter a local competition. Williamson won first place, and that qualified her for Denver, regional qualifier for the U.S. Roaster Championship. She took second place at the qualifier, advancing her to the national competition. She said that she was excited to be done with the competition, heading into the national competitionship in March in Kansas City. Outside of competing, she was trying to work extra hours at Huckleberry, which was going through a meager merger with another coffee company and was understaffed. But instead, she got first place, earning her a spot at the World Championship. Each country sends only one representative to the global stage, and Williamson is the first woman to represent the U.S.
This story is from the Durango Herald. FDA wants stronger warning on breast implants about risks. U.S. health officials want women getting breast implants to receive stronger warnings and more details about the possible risks and complications. The Food and Drug Administration said Wednesday that manufacturers should add a warning highlighted by a box, the most serious type, to the information given to women considering implants. The agency also recommended patients complete a checklist to make sure they understand all the possible side effects of the implants, such as scarring, pain, rupture, and even rare form of cancer. We have heard from many women that they are not fully informed about the risks when considering breast implants, the agency said in a statement detailing the recommendations. The agency also wants companies to explain that breast implants often require repetitive surgeries, and they often should not be considered lifelong devices. About 1 in 5 women who get implants or for cosmetic reasons need to have them removed within 8 to 10 years. The agency will take public comment on the proposed guidelines before adopting them. The new proposal and the FDA's latest attempting to manage safety issues with the devices primarily used for breast augmentation, the most frequently performed cosmetic surgical procedure in the U.S. Roughly 400,000 women get implants each year, 100,000 after cancer surgery. In recent years, the FDA and regulators elsewhere have grappled with a link between rare cancer and a type of textured implant. In July, the FDA called the manufacturer Allergan to pull its BioCell implant after it was tied to heightened risk of a form of lymphoma. The company issued a worldwide recall for the implants, which had already been restricted or removed from the numerous countries. In a separate issue, the FDA has received thousands of reports from women who blame their implant for a host of health problems, including rheumatoid arthritis, chronic fatigue, and muscle pain. Earlier this year, the FDA held a meeting at which dozens of women urged the agency to place warnings and restrictions on the implants. The FDA has stood by its long-standing position that the implants are essentially safe so long as women understand they can have complications. But following the meeting, the agency said women should get more explicit, understandable information about implant risk. The devices have silicone outer shell and are filled with either saline or silicone. Besides all of the above, in cold weather like today, these implants can get very cold as they are covered by a thin layer of skin. Our program director is declining to get implants for the reasons above.
This story is from the Journal. Fresh start. Brandon Allen gets his break from Broncos. It took Brandon Allen 4 seasons and 3 different teams to get his shot at starting in the NFL. The gig may only be temporary, even if Joe Flacco is out for a while with a herniated disc in his neck. Rookie quarterback Drew Lock could return to his active roster any time now, and he missed half the season after getting an injured reserved with a right thumb injury suffered in the preseason. Allen's not looking over his shoulder but straight ahead to Sunday and his debate when the Denver Broncos 2-6 host Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns 2-5. This is the opportunity that everyone wants, everyone strives for, Allen said Tuesday. I'm going out to do the best I can do. Falco, who has sacked 11 times in his last 2 games, had a stiff neck after Denver's 15-13 loss at Indianapolis last weekend, and coach Vic Fangio said Monday that Falco was diagnosed with a herniated disc in his neck. It's an injury that could sidelined him for a significant stretch and land him on injured reserve. We're feeling for Joe right now, but this is the opportunity we worked for, said Allen, who has climbed off waivers from the Rams on September 1st. I've learned a lot from him in the few short weeks we've been together. The Broncos fans are brushing up on Allen, a 6th-round pick of Jacksonville in 2016. He spent 17 and 18 with the Rams. This is what the University of Arkansas product wants everyone to know about him. They're going to see me play hard. They're going to see I want to win, and that's kind of the biggest thing I want them to take away. Allen will be the Broncos' 6th starting quarterback since Peyton Manning retired. It will be Allen's first start since guiding Arkansas past Kansas State 45-23 in the Liberty Bowl on January 2nd, 2016. It could be luck. The 2nd round picked out of Missouri, who sprained the thumb on his throwing hand in a preseason game against San Francisco on August 19th and hasn't practiced since, or more likely practiced squatter and undrafted rookie Brent Rippon of Boise State, the nephew of longtime NFL quarterback Mark Rippon. I'm just trying to come in and do my best every day, Brent Rippon said. Locke said his thumb was cleared out about 2 weeks ago. He's been traveling with his team, taking in meetings and going through virtual reality simulations. It's kind of fun to be able to go about things kind of my own way a little bit, Locke said. Whenever they're ready, I'll be ready. They'll get a confident guy whenever they call the number out. Allen feels prepared even if he only takes a handful of snaps with the first team offense. The Broncos structure is similar to the ones he learned while with the Rams. He said he can handle the full playbook too. The 6'2" Allen does not have the height of Flacco 6'6", but does make up for it in mobility. I can escape the pocket and make plays outside the pocket, the 27-year-old said.
This story comes from the Huffington Post. Man who tried to open bank account with fake $1 million bill still on the lam. Police are searching for a man who walked into a bank in Nebraska this week and tried to open a checking account with a fake $1 million bill. Staff at the Pinnacle Bank branch in Lincoln reported the Monday morning incident to police. The Lincoln Journal-Star reports the bank employees say the man was adamant that the bill was real, despite tellers' attempts to convince him otherwise. The man eventually left with the bill, but without a new account. Police are reviewing the surveillance video to try to identify the man. Police say they want to check on his welfare and make sure he was not a victim of a crime. The largest denomination note ever published in circulation was a $10,000 bill. Now for our weather report with Hannah.
Our current weather data comes from the DCTV weather station located in the beautiful downtown Dove Creek. The current temperature is 26 degrees. The high for today was 26 degrees. The low is 4 degrees. The barometer is at 30.48 inches and is rising. Humidity is at 29%. Wind is between 1 and 9 miles per hour from the northwest. A gust have been up to 28 miles per hour. There are 0.00 of an inch of moisture measured today by the DCTV weather station. Moisture for the month is 0.01 of an inch. Moisture accumulation for the year is 10.24 inches. Now for the National Weather Service. Here is the big map. The western third of the nation is clear right up to the continental divide. Right in the mountains of Colorado and extending east into Iowa is a white patch of snow. Then below that, The purple area from central Kansas to the Great Lakes is mixed snow and rain. Assuming that. Starting in central Texas and up into Ohio and the corner of Pennsylvania is a large area of rain and thunderstorms. Above that, going northeast, is another large area of just rain. I don't know. Now for our exclusive DCTV 5-day forecast. Thursday, sunny, high 41, low 17. Friday, sunny, high 48, low 20. Saturday, sunny, high 50, low 24. Sunday, sunny, high 53, low 26. Monday, sunny, high 55, and low 27. Now for our climate change report, CO2, carbon dioxide, is considered a greenhouse gas and is one of the principal causes of climate change. CO2 traps heat in the atmosphere, which causes climate instability. This results in significant variations worldwide of moisture and hot and cool temperatures, but the general climate trend of the planet is slowly warming. Therefore, it is important that we report the CO2 weekly change. The following are the CO2 numbers in parts per million. Last week, 408.78. 2 weeks ago, 408.62. Last year, 406.61. 10 years ago, 384.74. Thank you, Dr. 50 years ago, 322.85. Thank you, Dr. Peter Tanz, the National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration, and Michael McGee of the CO2.Earth Network for providing this information. Remember, you can help keep our kids' news show on air by buying a sponsorship. To buy a sponsorship, yes, call 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Thank you. Now back to our news director.
And that is the end of today's DCTV 4-H Evening News Show. This is your news director, Dan, saying good night and thank you for watching. And watch that weather tonight. It's going to get cold. Oh, okay, bye.